And with that, I yield to my colleague, Brad Wenstrup from Ohio.
Thank you, Elise. First, being from the Cincinnati area, I want to just take a moment to condemn the attack on the FBI headquarters that we saw yesterday. I can tell you as a group and personally, we condemn all types of violence, whether it's something like this, violence that occurred in our cities a couple summers ago, violence at the Capitol, and violence at the baseball field 5 years ago. I will be putting a call into my friends at the FBI headquarters in Cincinnati and check in on them. We support them. We all know that we have thousands of dedicated patriots working within our agency to try and do the right thing. I'm a physician, Iraq veteran. I grew up watching a TV show on Sunday nights called FBI. I love the FBI. I had such respect for the FBI. But we have concerns today. We have concerns today primarily in the leadership. I'd like to say that those concerns are not the feelings of every American or the majority of Americans, but it is. It is, and I'm hearing it from both sides of the aisle. They are worried about the weaponization, the politicization of the DOJ and the FBI. This raid is unprecedented. We want answers. We deserve answers. Because you see, we are a government of the people, and we are the representatives of the people. And on behalf of our citizens, we are here to have oversight. No agency in our government is its own standalone government. Accountability must be there. Transparency must be there. I want to frame a scenario that's consistent with so much of what we were dealing with and talk about what happened at the baseball field 5 years ago. June 14, 2017, a heavily armed assassin, clearly by his social media and other things he wrote, was motivated politically. He hated Donald Trump. He wanted to kill Republicans. He had names of Republicans in his pocket. He was outside that baseball field for 2 months watching us. Before he launched his attack, he asked 2 members of Congress that were leaving early whether this was Republicans or Democrats. Most people don't know 136 rounds were fired that day. Steve Scalise took a bullet for all of us. If he wasn't there, Capitol Police would not have been there to defend us that day. The Capitol Police were in unmarked vehicles and undercover clothing. 5 people were hit, including both Capitol Police. And it's really by the grace of God that we survived. But without them being there, you have in a situation where this man singularly could have killed 20 to 30 members of Congress and staff, changing the balance of power in the United States House of Representatives. Folks, that's an insurrection. And it was a clear assassination attempt. He came heavily armed. And I know, because I was there, and so was Mr. Kelly, who you'll hear from as well. He had his hit list. He knew what he was doing. Despite all these facts, on November 16, 2017, FBI personnel came to those of us that were there and told us, we just surmise that this guy wanted to commit suicide by cop. If your jaw doesn't drop with that assessment from the FBI, it should. And as we said that day, you want suicide by cop? Pull a gun on a cop. It takes 1 bullet. It's over. 136 rounds were fired. So I tell you all that because I think it's important that you also know the scenario and also know that the FBI did not call any of the Republican members, those of us that the man tried to assassinate, in making its determination. Not one of us were questioned by the FBI, the leading investigative body in the United States of America. So you want to know why American people don't trust our institutions? It's things like this, because the decision they made defies logic. Fortunately, this committee finally had a chance to address Christopher Wray, who, by the way, was not the director of the FBI at that time on June 14, 2017. It was Andrew McCabe. You all know who Andrew McCabe is. You know, his association with the Russian collusion hoax. We finally had Christopher Wray, after 4 years, painted the scenario and asked him how the FBI could come to that conclusion. To his credit, he reviewed the case and changed that narrative to domestic violent extremism. But it doesn't end there. So, and I do want to share too that, you know, you had all these other agencies, Alexandria Police, et cetera. They were very clear on what this man did. None of them considered it suicide by cop. Not one agency, just the FBI from the top. We're in a situation now where we in this committee, where we have oversight, we are the entity, and as taxpayers, you all are the ones that fund this agency. We're the ones who created this agency. We have a responsibility to have oversight over this agency. And so, in review, we have said, we want to have some lessons learned here. How did you get it so wrong? Why did you get it so wrong? Did it come from the acting director? So we want to know how, why, and by whom these mistakes were made. We need access to the case file to answer these questions. And the FBI has been unwilling to share this file with us, which we have every right to see. These agencies serve us. They serve us, the people, not just us here, but all of those that we represent across this country. It's not the other way around. And we cannot be denied oversight by the very agencies that we created, that we fund, and that we want to trust. We want the American people to trust our agencies. So we're here to provide oversight and accountability. We need the FBI. This country needs an FBI. It's part of truth, justice, and the American way, but not when it's in the cover of darkness, and not when we don't sense honesty and transparency. We created the FBI for a reason. We want them to do their job for the reason that it was created and to work with us.